You guys got paperwork the first meeting in regards to adopting the gadget and the Cedit rate, which we're back to. We haven't changed these for a number of years. So I went ahead and gave you other counties in the surrounding area where they stood, so you had some comparison rates. And I highlighted them, so we were looking at counties close to us and not outside of the issue. The second piece of paper was from the Department of Revenue. The Department of Revenue showing how much we were going to collect for 2012 and 2013 based on the monies we were suggesting. We have to turn back in by September 15th what we're going to do, and I gave you a copy of where we were last year. So you need to make a determination if you want to leave them, increase them. The only other information I gave you guys was if we wanted to adopt the public safety one and what it could be used on for those expenses. And that would be another call for you guys. The only reason I kind of looked at that was because of suggestion from Todd Samuelson and how we could help recoup the $800,000 we have to absorb in the county general for the group insurance. And the public safety will pay for the IC code that I gave you guys. And collection-wise, Whitley County would collect right around 1.1 million. So it would help offset some of the costs like the EMS, some jail expenses, institutional care for the jail, the sheriff's inmate insurance. I mean, we have above and beyond what we could pay out of that public safety, the IC code.
Isn't there some other thing we have to enact at the same time in order to do that?
We already have that.
We already have it?
That's the other gadget at the 25%. So it would just be in addition to the gadget money we get in, we'd have to establish another account. Which people who came and got their packets, I kind of told them the story of the gadget, that we had to take funding out of the commissioners and put it in a separate fund. We could justify for the money coming into the county, but if John Doe came up to my counter and said, I want to know exactly what you spent gadget money on, we commingled it with the county general money, and that's why it had to be pulled out budget-wise and put in its own fund line.
Okay, I talked to George about this, and he said that it used to go into county general, and now it goes into its own fund.
Not yet, January.
Right, not until, and then, but for this upcoming budget, we can budget large items. We should budget large items in there.
And he came back a week ago Friday and helped me pull. If you look in, if we're going on to that, if you look on your sheets, I gave you sheets, what we pulled out. Yes, and I highlighted at the top. What he just suggested. Everything was out of county general. We got down to needing 100,000, and he said, well, look at the highway. That's another way you can use the funds. And if you see, I put garage supplies for exactly 100,000, which was in the highway budget. I pulled it out of there.
Okay, so you went ahead into the budget that we've already worked on.
Yes.
And moved these things around.
Yes.
Okay, only because we didn't have a choice. I mean,
we don't have a choice.
We had to do that. So we can look at this now and say, well, why wouldn't, my first question would be, why wouldn't we take the entire amount of group insurance out of there?
That's you guys, that's the 800,000 what was in the commissioner's budget, and that's exactly what I pulled over
because
to that.
When I was on the phone with George was like, I think you look fine. I was talking to him about the health insurance, and he's like, you know, you have blah, 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 and then you have this. So if this is not, that's not our total due for group insurance though.
It's pretty much the county portion. The rest of it will be highway, community correction pays their own, 911 pays their own, and health pays their own insurance. So of the
community corrections, highway, health,
911. So of the 1.7 we need to pay, the county portion of it is about that.
800. And so what does this do to our search for, we were looking at trying to find $400,000 more. Where are we at now on that?
Bill came and asked me the same question the other day. And it's really confusing now because of the gadget pullout. You can't look at what we're going to look at for the binding review because last year in 2012 we certified 8.1 million. For 2013 in county general we're only certified in 6.8 because we had to pull out 2.7.
Yeah.
So the difference is 1.2 million difference between last year. 2.7 was moved to gadget, and if you take the 1.2 million, we still had a difference of 1.4 million that we were going to be over. Of the difference, 800,000, or of the 1.4, 800,000 of that is because of the insurance. And so that gets us down to 615 that we just were forecasted over of what we were the year before. If you take that times the growth quotient we're allowed for the county, we come up with 237,000 of what we're allowed to grow rate-wise through the county, even minus the 10% assessed value that we had going on. So if you take the 615 minus the 237 growth quotient that we're allowed, we're still short $378,000 that we possibly could have to cut, but that's using figures of 10% less AV than we were from the previous year. And I looked at the assessed values that came in just from Rita, and we're going to be somewhere between 2 and 5 throughout the whole county increase in AV, but I'm not saying we can't be cut.
And
378,000.
And off that 1+ million, and you took the 800,000 off of that, okay? Did you also take off the FICA and Medicare retirement, the other things that came out of this gadget shares?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That's the difference between the two.
All right, so we basically, from what the budget we were looking at before, the very first time without all our cuts, need to find 327.
378.
378.
But I don't know without the wages being in there, we forecasted 3% on wages, and with the cost of living thing that Pam you guys did, that's going to be a huge decrease.
Yeah, this might be a good time, Pam, for you to distribute the spreadsheet.
Yeah, because there's just a lot of, I don't know what you want to finish. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. So
Now, let's get this back. Now, you said about the assessed valuation part.
Yes. When we estimate the budgets for the year coming up, the DLGF tells everyone, if you look on your budget project that I passed out, to use 10% of the previous year's assessed value.
Why did they come up with less?
90%.
I don't know.
And it always goes up.
And it always goes up. So I'm personally not scared knowing that the assessed value is going to go up. If it goes up 2 to 5%, and we already decreased to 10, we're looking at 12 to 15, and that amount of assessed value times the average tax rate would cover this 378. So I'm not scared. Oh yeah.
I don't know if you've been reading it in the
I'm not
Columbia
scared
City
at all.
paper. There's been a series of articles on the schools and their problems. And then last night's article, Tony Ziegler said one of their problems has been the lowering of assessed valuation.
Yes, I agree. They use 15%, and that is crazy.
Yeah, I don't know where you come up with that.
And I know this is just an estimate, but I still think if we fall within, we don't ever take, they suggest you use 15. That's crazy. Even small Etna Troy, Kim, does she take the whole 15 when they tell her?
Does she?
I think she does.
Yeah.
But the good thing is, we've always been high.
Yeah.
And George says that Whitley County is huge, and we're 0.01% in growth above the state average. He has people in his district, in the Northeast District, that are in the negative for growth quotient. Whitley County is not that. We have businesses coming in, we have people building houses even though it's down. Our assessed value's high, we have abatements falling off. We have huge increases every year. We don't have anybody that's really went out and we've lost their business or whatever.
I don't think we've ever had a year since I've been around here when the assessed valuation went lower than it was the year before.
I think if we make the changes that Paula and Pam did to this is my suggestion, after running all these numbers, we make the changes to the assessed value, which is gonna lower it by at least 100,000. Did you do a difference between the three, what we had?
Oh,
And we let it ride out, and so we know the definite assessed values from the assessor's office. I don't think that we're gonna come up short. I don't
either.
see it.
well, and Pam and I work together a lot on the spreadsheet, and this is what I used to give you guys. I don't know if you recall.
recreated it.
That was your-
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
And basically what it does is it shows all the employees, but your first cover sheet, you know, all job types do not grow equally. You know, the farming industry is gonna be, you know, maybe a little faster or slower than law enforcement, blah, blah, blah. So the good news is between the years of 2009 and 2012, you guys managed to give a total of 4.7% in increases, okay? Now I went and back and I looked at all those cost of living years and everything, and you know, we were in a bad economical time. So the cost, you guys actually paid, like your comments, 2009 to 2012, you actually were only short a negative 0.72%. So the employees actually, their jobs, they were leading the market a little bit because of the increases you did. And I know that's hard to believe, you only gave 2 increases over that period of time, but it's because the economy was so low at those periods of times that there just wasn't a lot of growth in cost of living. So overall, if you wanted to get everybody to market up till 2013, you would need to increase the comments 1.9%, the PATs 1.31%, labor trades and crafts 0.99%, poll 1.62%, SOs and elected officials 1.7%. Which is a total dollar increase, and mind you, this is for everybody. This includes highway, health, community corrections, everybody.
Total package.
140,324. County general by itself is $107,909. So I just think having this information and maybe playing this out a little bit longer, going through our cuts, and kind of keeping it on the back burner to see what we can do might be a good way to approach this as well. But your percentages did not come close to 3%, and that's a good thing.
So Paula, are you suggesting that go back in, because we had all the department heads just give a straight 3%. So to finish it up, we've advertised high, no one's above the 3%. So we are fine on what I advertised. So then we go back and put these amounts in, that's gonna cut this amount that we think we're over.
A lot, yeah.
A lot, by quite a bit,
Okay,
if
now
not
what-
almost all of it.
Refresh my memory, if you figured the 3%, like everybody put in, what is that dollar figure?
I don't know, you
Oh,
guys
you'd
never
have to
came up
take,
with
I
that.
could tell you, right, I could
Okay.
tell you pretty quick. You would take your county general, and I could just tell you for county general,
Yeah.
total salaries for 2012 was 3.598500. So 3.598, and my times 3%.
Yeah.
What was it?
3,598. 3,598.5 times 3%.
And mind you too, that the 107,909 that I
Figured
gave
you
you
could have the right starting number.
includes people who aren't at base and they're going up to their, so that's why that 107,909, if you look down here, for example, a jailer is at higher end, so he's below his base, so he'll get $1,600 because he's learned the job.
But that's
That's
already
in there, that's already in there.
Yeah.
It's silly to not take that into consideration now, because then you don't actually have a good estimate. Here's a $4,000 one for a deputy in the sheriff's office, $4,123. He'll get once he's at his, once he's trained.
Paula,
And you figured that.
Paula, did you put note in there, because I don't think the previous HR, and I don't know if you know it when you were HR, But the matron cannot make more than a deputy?
Sheriff's deputy, yeah.
And she was.
I know, I saw
Okay,
that.
did you see that? They
Yeah,
didn't
and I
ask
was
for a
trying-
raise.
I think because we're paying her over, we're okay. If we were paying her less, then we'd be, so you'd have to look at whether or not you wanna take that money away from her. But,
Can't we just maintain it until they come equal?
yeah,
Again,
well, yeah,
okay.
you could, and so that would save another,
Yeah, just maintain it till it catches up.
So, this information that we're looking at, how does this factor into the gadget and Cedit?
It's not, that's why I said we got off on something totally different.
well, that does factor, no, it doesn't. Well, the insurance comes in there.
It does.
Pam, did you come up with a figure on that?
It's on your sheet, $107,000 difference, the actual 3% is there. So you're looking at an additional $107,000.
We're looking at paying them more money?
If you were to, with the 3%.
Oh, with the 3%,
Yeah, yeah,
I was
yeah.
right.
With these figures,
That's a 3%.
so these,
So there's
these,
100
this figures that's in pink is 107,000 less than the 3, or 107,000 less than the 3%. The
Yeah.
140.
Yes.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure I understood all this.
So now we're down to, if we know that's 107, now we're down to 271,000.
But that's even figured your 10% decrease in the assessed valuation.
Correct.
Well, that's lunatic to work.
That's what I said. I think we should just leave it alone after we do the wages. But that's you guys' call.
I do too.
I agree, I think so too.
Don't look at
I'm
me.
feeling a lot more warm and fuzzy about this than I certainly was.
Well, that's the reason I want to talk to you the other day.
That's a
'cause
bad term, but anyway, it works. You know what I meant.
I did. I mean, I had these numbers down when Bill came up the other day because after I left the meeting, and you guys said, we just want to be more comfortable with it. And then when I had to do the gadget thing, that drove me crazy. And I had to pull from here and do this, and I was like, but I had a pretty good idea it was going to be around 350 or something. So when I came up with this number and George was there to sit down with me, I really felt comfortable by saying, this is what we had to do. This is where we took the money. Yeah, we had to increase it here, but we took it out. I really thought we should have put ambulance somewhere else. If we took the ambulance, the Whitley County EMS, and put it in Cedit again, we would be done with this budget. I'm just saying. That was my first opinion. There's 310,000, we're off 378. If we said we want that back in the Cedit program, and we would be almost even.
And aren't they really, I mean, honestly, looking for Cedit projects? I mean,
That's what I think.
didn't you hear Don say? And
Okay.
my
But-
goal leaving the last meeting is there anything in our budget that could be paid from Cedit and be lawful?
But if we put the gadget public safety thing in, that's the very first thing listed in the IC thing is EMS expenses. But in talking to other counties, I think we really got screwed because Noble County's only paying $144,000 a year. I'm just saying, I just wanted to throw that out there. And buying an ambulance every other year.
Yeah, but they got a lot more income from Noble County than they do Whitley County. They have a lot more runs.
Yeah, because they have Kendall.
See, they generate a lot more income.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
where our problem is, we don't have enough.
We
money.
don't generate enough money so the county
Right.
has to pay more for it.
Yes.
Okay, I'm being nice.
Bad
I just
debt.
You
fell
know,
over. I was like.
And that's part of it.
You're
I'm not
kidding
saying
me.
that's all of it.
We're totally, I know, I like,
Back,
can we do one thing at a time,
Okay.
because I have
Get
papers
us back
all
on-
over.
Get us back on.
Come on, Mr. Chairman.
back to the Cedit and gadget on there.
Do we wanna
Do
leave
we
on the
want
same?
to increase
or-
or not? Is the basic question.
And do we wanna put public safety in there as an option? And the sheets attached will show how much we will bring in, but that's, do you even wanna mess with them this year? You haven't messed with them for years, I know, but. I asked the state to give me some background. Do you guys know when you implemented these and how long they've been the same?
A long time.
Jim, give us some wisdom.
Time.